I don't need to explain to you what the red pill ideology is. We all know about it. It's basically a certain school of thought when it comes to dating strategy and dating dynamics and all of that. But the thing about the red pill, it's basically a whole bunch of BS. And specifically in this video, I'm going to be going over some of the core tenets of the red pill, some quote unquote red pill truths that are actually just total BS. And I'm going to be doing this tier list style, so truths ranking in the S tier are just absolutely not true, they're just total BS. And so-called truths ranking in the F tier, well, there probably is some truth to it. So okay, here we go. The first red pill truth I'm going to be debunking is the idea that men's sexual market value peaks in their mid-30s. This is a common belief amongst red pill followers. Andrew Tate says that men peak at 35, Rollo Tomassi says men peak at 36, and they aren't necessarily saying that men are at their peak physical attractiveness in their mid-30s. The idea is basically that men in their mid-30s are established in their careers and they have some money, some savings, better confidence, and all of that. And so men in their mid-30s are at their peak because their money and status are a lot greater than when they were younger, and their physical attractiveness has, at worst, not deteriorated too much. And, well, let me tell you why that's BS. Men's sexual market value, or SMV, does not peak in their mid-30s. For one thing, red pillers drastically understate just how much a man's looks deteriorate by the time he's in his mid-30s. Most men are showing significant signs of aging by the age of 35, whether that be graying hair, balding, slight wrinkling in the face like crow's feet around the eyes, and just physically the way a man moves, like his energy. And women pick up on these things even if it's subtle. Even if they can't quite put their fingers on it, Women can see signs of aging in the vast majority of men by the time they're like 32 or something like that. And the other part of this, I think red pillers are just flat out wrong about how important money and status are in attracting women. Your wealth and social standing and all that obviously does play a role, but looks are way, way more important. But even if you do assume that money and status are more important than looks, it's just not accurate to make the assumption that the average man's wealth and status is significantly greater at 35 compared to when he was, say, 25. That is true for a lot of men, but not most. In the times we're living in now, the company you work for does not care about you at all. You are 100% replaceable and expendable. Promotions are hard to come by, and they are not guaranteed. Back in the day, when it was common for a man to get hired on somewhere in his early 20s, then continue working for that same company and rising through the ranks for the next 30 years, yeah, back then, a man in his mid-30s probably did have significantly more money and status than a man in his 20s. But that's not how it is now. I know it's possible for a guy to continually hop from job to job while rapidly increasing his position that way, constantly applying to new jobs in the same field and essentially getting promotions by hiring into a higher salary at another company. But most men aren't doing that. They can't do that. And that is just an absolutely insanely mentally and physically taxing grind. And most men just are not doing it. Not even close. And if you don't believe me when I say that the average man in his mid-30s does not have significantly more wealth than he did in his 20s, then just look at this. Yeah, data. According to this data, which was collected from user data on some investment platform, the median net worth of a person in their 20s is $7,638. And the median net worth of someone in their 30s is $35,649. And this is based on people that actually have some sort of investment portfolio, so I'm guessing the numbers for the general population would be a lot lower. But either way, the difference between a net worth of $8,000 and a net worth of $36,000, that's not even close to enough difference to move the needle. Do you really think women will view a man with a $36,000 net worth as significantly more attractive than a man with an $8,000 net worth? Both of those men are flat broke. So, no matter how you look at it, men's sexual market value absolutely does not peak in their mid 30s. But I do think it could be true for some men if they happen to age well and have major financial success. So I'm not going to rank this one all the way up top. And that's also partially because some of the other red pill truths we're going to be talking about later on are a lot more egregious. So the idea that men peak in their mid 30s, I'm going to put it in the B tier. Red pill gurus love to talk about this concept called the wall and how women hit the wall. The exact age varies depending on who you ask, but the basic idea is that when a woman hits a certain age, say 30 years old, she hits a wall, so to speak, where it's like everything changes overnight. So throughout her whole life growing up as a young woman, she always received a certain level of treatment. She experienced a certain level of privilege because of her youth and beauty, but then she turns 30 and all of a sudden she loses all that privilege. She's not young anymore. She's not hot and desirable. And so it's like hitting a wall because her whole life she was used to being treated a certain way, but then suddenly it seems like all of society just stops caring about her altogether, and suddenly men don't hold the door open for her. She struggles to find dates. It's harder for her to find a job, and etc. Her whole life changes overnight. I mean, obviously, women do become less attractive as they get older, and that certainly does affect how they get treated in life. But the idea that they hit the wall, like it's something that happens suddenly, yeah, that's BS. And the most common ages you hear for when women hit the wall seems to be 30 or 35, and I've even seen as young as 25, and I don't know if it's just something men say to cope or what, but come on. If you put an average 21-year-old girl next to an average 30-year-old girl, then yeah, obviously the younger girl is going to be more attractive and thus more valuable in society, meaning overall she will be living life with more privilege. But let's not pretend that the average 30-year-old woman gets treated poorly in this gynocentric Western society. The average woman up to probably age 40 at least is 100% still experiencing a whole hell of a lot of female privilege. She'll still have a gang of simps everywhere she goes. She'll still have no trouble finding any kind of job she wants, and she will still get treated like a princess by pretty much any man her age or older. Because let's not act like men aren't absolutely desperate in this day and age. And now, with the internet and social media and dating apps, older women can get all the validation they need whenever, wherever they want it, just by uploading a poorly lit mirror selfie with a random Bible verse for the caption. But like I said, it is true that all women do eventually lose their youthful glow, and with it, their privilege. So the red pill concept of the wall isn't completely BS, but it's usually a very gradual process, and most women are still experiencing a high level of female privilege well into their 30s. So this one's going in the D tier. LMS, or Looks Money Status, is a popular framework promoted in both red pill and black pill spaces. The idea is that looks, money, and status are the three main things that determine how attractive a man is to women. But specifically, red pill followers tend to give equal or even greater weight to money and status than they do to looks, while black pill followers tend to give more weight to looks. Well, listen, the black pillars are right on this one. money and status are severely overrated. When it comes to attracting women, looks really is the be all end all. Money and status are insignificant in comparison. So LMS really is just a BS framework because it should just be the L that we're talking about. But I know acronyms are better for marketing or whatever, so let's call it, I don't know, something like LOL, which stands for looks and only looks, because that's what really matters. So the LMS framework is an A tier red pill truth that's actually BS. Now let's talk about having an abundance mindset. Abundance mindset is like one of the main red pill tenets, and what it is the idea that you need to have a mindset where you believe you have an abundance of options, because when you do that, you will naturally be more confident and you'll act less desperate and more alpha, and women will be attracted to you because, they can sense that you don't need them. You're like outcome independent or something. I don't even know. But I guess it is true that you would naturally be more attractive to women if you have an abundance mindset. That actually seems pretty obvious. But the thing is, you can't just adopt the belief that you have an abundance of options when you don't have an abundance of options. What am I supposed to hypnotize myself or something? I don't have options. I can't just suddenly start believing I do have options. That's not how belief works. What you believe is based on your observations and how you interpret those observations. So unless you are completely delusional, if you're living a life of romantic scarcity, then you aren't going to have the abundance mindset. And the other part of this, men that do have an abundance mindset, who knows if that's even done anything for them? They don't know, because the reason they have their abundance mindset in the first place is because they already have an abundance of romantic options. So their success in dating came before their abundance mindset. And that's how it happens 100% of the time. These abundance mindset guys are snatching women up left and right, but that's not because of their mindset. It's because of their looks. It's because of their genetics. So abundance mindset is an S tier red pill truth that's actually BS. If you go into any kind of red pill forums or comment sections or whatever online, you'll probably come across this acronym, AWALT, AWALT. And what it stands for, AWALT, it stands for all women are like this or all women are like that. Whatever, same difference. Well, it's kind of self-explanatory, but the intention behind this phrase is to show that despite what they may say, virtually all women have the same preferences and behaviors when it comes to dating and how they interact with men. And from the red pill perspective, the big benefit that these red pill gurus get out of promoting the AWALT theory is that it naturally leads you to the conclusion that these red pill methods and techniques that these gurus are promoting, if all women are the same, then those methods must work on all women. Now, in the red pill's defense, I will say that I have noticed many promoters of AWALT usually do provide some disclaimer that it's not literally all women that are the same. So, yeah. But anyways, I do think there's a lot of truth to the theory. I've been living in this world for 36 years now, and I'm not like blind, deaf, and dumb, arguably I am dumb, but I am aware of my surroundings. And it's not hard to see that it is true that the vast majority of women are attracted to the same exact men. So actually, I don't think AWALT is BS at all. However, the way that the acronym is weaponized by red pill grifters, like, "Guh, all women are like this, so remember to hold frame," or whatever if you want to spin plates or something, because everything that I'm telling you to do totally does work. And guess what? It works on all women because they're all like this. But yeah, AWOT isn't really BS, so I'm gonna put it in the F tier. The whole reason the red pill exists in the first place is so some grifters can try to profit off of lonely men's desperation. So, in order for them to be able to do that, they have to sell you on the hope that you too can be an alpha male if only you follow their advice. So, the quote unquote truth we're talking about here is the idea that anybody can become an alpha male. This idea is BS for pretty much the same reasons the whole abundance mentality thing is BS. How alpha or beta you are is more or less just a function of your genetics. You can't just become alpha through hard work and determination. Let's think about it. What is alpha? What does it mean to be an alpha male? Essentially, it just means that you're dominant in social situations. You can add more to that definition if you just want to be all prosaic and flowery with your language, but essentially, social dominance is what it is. Okay, so what are the factors that determine how dominant someone is in social situations? Assertiveness is one, that's for sure, and it probably helps if you're physically imposing, so we'll say large stature is a factor. Your overall looks certainly plays a role. Like, if a man has masculine features, he's probably more likely to be respected in social situations. And whatever, I'm sure there's more factors that go into it than that, but that's enough to make my point. See, the thing all these factors have in common is that they are all mostly genetic things. I guess you can technically increase your stature by working out and eating a lot, but even that, it's mostly genetic. And ultimately, what it all boils down to, for the most part, how alpha you are is just a function of how much testosterone you have. And I know you can supplement testosterone to increase your test levels, and that probably will make you more alpha, but that's kind of beside the point, because that's not what red pill gurus are talking about when they're trying to tell you that you can become alpha like them. You can't become alpha just by cold approaching 100 women a day, or by focusing on your mission, or whatever other retarded shit these red pill morons say. You're either alpha or you're not. Period. So the idea that you can become alpha, that is an A tier. And the only reason I'm putting this in the A tier instead of the S tier is because I just want to highlight just how retarded abundance mindset is. Because that shit is in a league of its own. Okay, next up is probably the single most common piece of advice you hear from red pillars. Just lift, bro. Just lift weights and get jacked, and women will be all over you. And I don't think it's total BS. Like, lifting weights and getting a nice, muscular, lean physique, it can help make you more attractive to women if you have at least an average looking face. Because if you are facially sub 5, meaning if you have an ugly face, there is not a woman on this planet that will give one iota of a fuck what your body looks like. Truly, face is everything. And again, if you've been paying close attention to everything I've been talking about so far, you might notice something that all these supposed red pill truths have in common. And that is that they're all geared towards selling you on the hope that you can improve your situation. And that's because the whole red pill philosophy, from the start, the red pill movement was founded by grifters for the purpose of selling snake oil to desperate men. Red pill isn't even a philosophy, it's a business sector, and you're the customer. So of course they want you to believe you can get better results with women if you just get ripped and shredded, because half these gurus are trying to sell you some kind of workout plan or some supplements or something. And this is something that's kind of personal to me in a way, because I've done a lot of weightlifting in my life, and I've had great results as far as transforming my physique. At my best, I was bench pressing about 300 pounds for a 1 rep max, deadlifting 4 plates, and squatting 3 plates. And yes, I know that's not an impressive squat, and I don't care, that's not really the point. Oh, and by the way, at my peak, I also could do like 15 chin ups with perfect form, and this was when I weighed over 200 pounds. So I know what it takes to get jacked. And I've been shredded too. I know how to get a good physique. But when I was jacked and shredded and ripped, it did not even slightly help me attract women. It did not matter at all. So lifting weights, I mean, it can make you more attractive to women if you have a decent looking face. So, like I say, it's not total BS, but for a large portion of the male population, especially those of us that are struggling the most, lifting weights is just irrelevant. C tier. Red pill grifters want you to believe that dating is a numbers game. See, they know you've experienced nothing but constant rejection throughout your life, so they tell you, "Oh, I understand your pain, young grasshopper. But see, dating, it is a numbers game. Even the most famous, handsome men in the world get rejected more often than not. But if you just approach hundreds of women, it's a sure thing that at least one or two of them will accept." I really hate this one because it's really just setting you up for a world of pain. And it's not true at all. I mean, okay, if you're sub 5 and you approach 1 million women, I mean, yeah, maybe you'll get a date. Maybe, because 1 million is a crazy large number. So yeah, sure. But realistically, you can't approach 1 million women. That's not even possible. And even if you approach 1,000 women, for a true sub 5, you're not very likely to get a date. And just imagine being rejected 1,000 times. Like, holy shit. I know red pillars want you to think that after you get rejected 100 times or whatever, that it stops affecting you, but I really doubt that. That is pure, unadulterated bullshit. In actuality, what happens when an ugly man, or really even an average looking man, what happens when any man that's not above average looking approaches dozens of women? He just gets rejected over and over again. And it's brutal every single time. And every time he gets rejected, his confidence just gets weaker and weaker. And he just grows more and more certain that there is no hope for him in this cruel world. And yeah, it sucks. Telling men that they need to be approaching dozens or even hundreds of women in order to get a single date, as if that's normal, it's not only untrue, it's actually harmful to a man's mental health. So the idea that dating is a numbers game, it's easily in the A tier. Alright, the next red pill truth I'm gonna debunk is the idea that if you just focus on yourself and focus on your own personal mission in life, then you will naturally attract women. Women will just come to you. And I remember back in the day on the red pill subreddit, this was like the main thing the grifters there would always be saying. And I think this one is just especially retarded because essentially it's just a roundabout way of saying that women are attracted to successful men. Or that's the basis of the idea. But the way this idea is usually promoted, they're trying to convince you that women will be attracted to you just because they see you're passionate about something. Like if you focus on your life's mission, then women will just be like, "Oh my God, look at his passion. Oh my freaking God, he's so focused and determined. Ah!" But let's just think about this for a second. What if my passion is Funko Pops and my mission is to collect every special edition Marvel Funko Pop, including the alternate outfits for Wolverine or whatever the fuck? I don't really know that much about Funko Pops, but I think you get the point. Like, if I make it my mission to build the largest and most expensive replica railroad fully equipped with all the bells and whistles and every kind of rail car, intermodal flat cars, box cars, auto racks, center beam flat cars, and every kind of locomotive that's ever existed, steam-powered, coal-powered, hybrid, electromotive, diesel, you name it. I'm building the biggest and the greatest model train set the world has ever seen. And I'm getting in the Guinness fucking Book of World goddamn records for this shit. Now, do you really think, in your heart of hearts, that if I just pursue my mission with a one-track mind, that women are just going to be drawn to me because of my passion? Hell no. Women are attracted to successful men, but they're not attracted to unsuccessful men that are on their way to being successful. Women love a driven man that's passionate about his work after he's already proven himself. But they don't care at all about how passionate you are or for how determined you are just because of your passion and determination. It's the results and the status they are attracted to. And your facial features mostly. I mean, that's the main thing. So go ahead and follow your passion if you want to. You can read The Alchemist 100 times over, cover to cover. One of the worst books of all time, by the way. And if you ever meet someone that says that Alchemist is their favorite book, then you know you're dealing with someone that's mentally impaired. But yeah, I don't remember why I'm talking about The Alchemist right now, but whatever, it sucks. But yeah, just focusing on your own personal mission, unless your mission is already earning you 7 figures or you look like Henry Cavill, then who cares? Women sure don't. So focusing on your mission is an S tier red pill truth that's not true at all.